Okay, I'm going to finally talk about the corruption and the lack of support that I have received from people who claim to be nice people from a spiritual community, and yeah, just the nightmare that I've been facing. So nearly anybody who's known about a potential of any kind of payout has tried to manipulate me or take advantage of the situation. Now this started with somebody who claimed to be there for me, claimed to be a friend. Turns out they lied not only to myself but to the people close to them about having had cancer themselves. They lied to me about having a previous partner who had also died from cancer. And it wasn't long after that the pleas and the pity started. Now, bear in mind, I've never had any money. Never had any money at all. So that's where it started. I've been accused of only being in it for the money from one of Heather's close friends, which to me is just fucking ridiculous. What are you accusing me of giving somebody cancer for a payout for only marrying her because I thought there was a potential payout. Now let's be clear here. This all started before we knew she had cancer. This all started because of a complaint I put in because of the way Heather was being treated at that hospital. So this started before any thought or potential of any payout could be there. The reason why this friend accused me of that is because there was talk of giving her family money. Now, let's be crystal clear here. In my situation, I am the only person who has been left financially at a disadvantage. Her family still have the same money that they had, minus half the funeral expenses. I've been left with nothing. My whole life was blown up. I've gone from 2 incomes to 1, from being on 1 income to having to support, like I say, at the time 5 cats and a dog on my own. So yeah, let's be clear here. The only person who has been financially impacted by this in the long term is myself. So had there been any financial compensation, it would have been owed to me. It would have been. I was always happy to share it, but the fact that people at that stage were already trying to manipulate the situation is just sick. I've had people within the spiritual community who've known about any potential payout manipulate the situation. Again, it's something as simple as just making comments about how they're struggling financially, right up to the nasty end of stuff. Now, I've got to be careful what I'm saying here, but there has been a particular group who knew about the potential for this. There has been a particular group whereby once the solicitor pulled out, and they knew it, that's when things started to change. So the solicitor pulled out in May. The rest of my life got blown up in mid to late June. Okay. It's no coincidence. It's no coincidence. Now, this particular group who claim to be spiritualists are not. They're not. They're a coven of witches who work with black magic. Now, the irony of it is, and I'm not going to go into loads of detail because I've already done a video about this, so it's on my Patreon now. But the irony of this is that most people in the community know this. Most people in the community are scared of them, and most people in the community are happy to be manipulated and bullied by them. Now, I'm gonna give you an example. Okay, I'm gonna give you an example. So, just to kind of set the scene for those who don't know. In June of last year, so 2024, I was dealing with an awful lot of stress. My relationship broke down for no apparent reason. I seem to be having an awful lot of trouble with my car and spending a lot of money having it repaired. My work seemed to mysteriously dry up. I was also getting a lot of falsified reports on my TikTok content. I was going through a period where at events there was an ongoing theme of people putting their names down for readings and then not turning up. And these names always went down when I was away from my desk. And yeah, my work was being affected and still is to this day. Let's be clear that it still is to this day. My work is still being affected, and it is, okay? And I then, through no fault of my own, got evicted. And was given 2 months to basically move out and find somewhere. Bear in mind that I'm self-employed. I don't have an accountant because I'm a sole trader. My taxes are extremely simple to do. I haven't been self-employed long enough, so I couldn't go through a letting agent. Even if I could go through a letting agent, I got the cats and the dog. I'm living on my own. I was under an extreme amount of stress and pressure. Now this culminated in me pushing for the truth online, whereby I eventually got a response. Now, the response started off with fabrication and lies, and much as in life things happen for a reason, I eventually got I got my reason because they slipped up in what I was saying, and it was regarding timings, and that's all I'll say on that. Now, I'll be honest, I did try and record that conversation, but you know, clearly dark energies were against me. I couldn't get my second phone to work. It was out of battery. Even as it was charging, I couldn't switch it on. So sadly I could not get evidence of that. Now, that conversation ended up in me losing my temper, and I think if I was to be able to freely talk about what was said and what happened, I don't think anybody in the world with any kind of empathy would blame me. Now, I am fully aware from other people that the rumours are that I am a manipulator, that I have narcissistic tendencies, that I am aggressive, and I've no doubt that this other person more than likely recorded part of that conversation, if you want to call it that. me shouting at them, basically. Now I say part because that conversation, that phone call, was a total of 2 hours. The first part being an hour, with a 15-minute break, and then they called back. Now, if somebody was being abusive for no reason, why would you call back other than to get some kind of evidence? I have no shame in saying I lost my temper. Like I say, if people could understand the full nature, if I was allowed to actually speak completely freely about this, I don't think that they would blame me. And again, the irony of it is that most people within the community know what these people, and I am saying these people, are like. So if they want to continue to believe the rhetoric, if they want to continue to believe the lies, that's on them. That's on them. You know, I have no issue whatsoever with playing the bad guy. None whatsoever. Because I'm not scared. I'm not scared of what people think. The reason why I'm doing this is not because I'm scared, not because I'm looking for sympathy and support, but because I deserve to say my truth. I deserve for people to know the bullshit that I've had to put up with and continue to put up with from people. Now I'm gonna read extract. So after that conversation, I believed at the time that I was having somewhat of a nervous breakdown. Now, I took myself to hospital. I called the crisis team. I took myself to hospital. From arriving to being discharged, I was there about 2 hours. Bear in mind that I was doing a lot of waiting around. I spoke with the mental health nurse. I was discharged with nothing more than being told to try and get some sleep and prescribed some Zopiclone. That was it. That was it. Now, on the 26th of July, this is when things completely broke down after being left a number of weeks with no response to what was going off. Now, for me, being somebody who has openly discussed having abandonment issues and anxious attachment issues, to be deliberately ignored and deliberately given no reason to why things have gone the way they had is a form of abuse. It's a form of abuse. Now, bear in mind that I started to become aware that something wasn't right back at a Chesterfield event when people started to act strangely around me. Now, as far as I was concerned, I'd just had a bit of a falling out with somebody due to the fact that they seemed to not want to see me anymore and wouldn't give me a response to why this was, other than they were stressed. I'm fully aware that these people were all in on it. And for me, and this is just my opinion, it's because they knew that the case was falling apart. Okay, so on the 26th of July, I messaged one of these members to let them know that I wasn't feeling very well. I was going to go to hospital. The first response was, "Just take care, Angel. Keep me updated." That was at 1:21. At 4:42. I said, "Just got back home. Surprisingly, they're not overly concerned and advised me to go to the GP on Monday for Zopiclone to sleep. I'm not embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed and I feel really bad." I got a response at 4:56, "Best to get checked out." I then had no other response until I exposed this person on the 2nd of August after being yet again left with no reason to what was going off, to why I'd been left in a situation with no support, to find that horrific TikTok comment tagged to one of their TikTok posts. And for those who've not read it, I'm going to read it out now. So this is attached to a side hustle, let's call it, of a high-ranking member of the spiritual community who runs events. Okay? And I quote, "If you believe somebody has wronged you, you must pursue them with great and terrible vengeance and deliver all full violence upon them." Now that is attached to one of their TikTok posts. It's not related to spiritual content because they're clearly not spiritual, okay? This is the kind of people we are dealing with. This is the kind of people who are still being supported, and these are the kind of people that have been trying to ruin my life. Now, I've exposed this. The spiritual community know this, and yet they still decide to bury their heads in the sand. They still decide to support these people. Now, I can't force anybody to do anything that they don't want to, and I can't. And I get that people have fear about their income. I get that. But the point is that most of this comes down to people not wanting to step out of that environment which feeds their ego. Now, this is another message to somebody else involved in this. I'm going to call it McCoven. In regard to this coven, just bear with me because I've gone too far down, and I'm just going to have to redact some of the words. So, hi blank, I hope you're well. This is on the 31st of July. I was supposed to be attending an evening event. Hi blank, I hope you're well. I'm really sorry, but I think it's best if I pull out of Friday. I'm doing better, but I don't want to end up having a meltdown due to the pressure cooker situation of a shuffle, and I'd rather do it now and give you a chance to get a replacement before it's too late. Sorry again, cheers. That's me to this event organiser. I never received a response. Now, I get that due to the situation, people don't want to take sides. That's perfectly fine. But these are people purporting to be spiritual, good-natured people. Now, for me, regardless if I like somebody or not, if somebody comes to me and says, look, I'm really struggling, I think that I'm having a bit of a breakdown here, I check in on them. I'd say, look, I hope you're doing okay. If there's anything, nothing. The response I got from that company was several weeks later, a couple of days before I was due to move, basically removing me from their events. Now, they can say that they removed me from their events all they like. We both know that I removed myself, and I did that by verbally pipe bombing your understudy, by exposing that TikTok. Couple of days later, on the day I was moving, I received a phone call from a Yorkshire-based event company organiser removing me from their event. And this is what I've had to deal with. Okay, this is what I've had to deal with. Bar a select few people within the community, I've received no support. No support. It wasn't until I went underground, so to speak, that the support from a few, so Charlie Rose and Emma Lou, popped up. and it's grown a little bit of traction since then. But even to this day, people still want to believe the rhetoric about me. People still want to believe the lies about me. People are still more concerned about protecting their status within the community. You know, when I found out I was being evicted, I knew that I wouldn't get much help and support, to the point where I had to put out a post on Facebook asking somebody to give me a hand to move stuff. Now, I got very little response from that. Very little. And the person, Phil, who very, 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 and I'm so grateful, was able to help me move for a couple of hours with the big stuff. You know, the reality of it is, I don't know Phil that well. And I don't. I've only met him a handful of times. And it's this attitude of, we don't want to get involved. You know, we don't want to get involved. Now, for me, the irony of this is, and I am having a go. I am having a go here. As a spiritualist, I understand what the ascension process is actually about. I understand, and I've been very, very clear since day dot. It's about greater change for the collective. It's not about the spiritual community. It's not about the spiritual community. And these people running around preaching this, that, and the other, all the while hiding, not wanting to get involved. Where was the fucking support? Where was the support? And some of you knew. Some of you knew about the lying and cheating, and there was still no support. Now, there's been a lot of talk recently about my content and about me offering forgiveness. Now, I'll be quite honest and say sometimes my content and my views are more on the aggressive side. The reason for this is because I have passion. I have fight. And this is what I am fighting against. And you cannot have fight without fire in your belly. You can't do it. Now, I'm not going to roll over, and I'm not. I'm fully aware that people want me to stop talking about this stuff, but I'm not going to. Because again, I'm sorry if it upsets people, but it needs exposing. Because again, it's not about you and your community, it's about the greater collective. And what I would say is, if it worries you, you're probably doing something wrong yourself. And I'm not going to stay silent, because it's bigger than that for me. It's greater than that. Now, the irony of it is, whether you people want to believe me or not, these people involved, all of them who have done this stuff to me, I do forgive them. And I do. Because they're human beings. I'm not fighting against human beings here. I'm fighting against dark energies. I am fighting against corruption. Because please, let's be clear. The treatment that I've received from people, the manipulation, the lies, it's corruption. Because they thought that money was involved. And they thought that they could get their hands on it. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm going to continue to fight what I'm fighting. I am going to continue to keep exposing this stuff. I am going to continue voicing my opinion. Now, I'm not going to speak any more about my wife and the experience I've had, because I'm done with it. I'm done with it. The reason why I'm doing this content is it's purging for me. It's good for me, because I have been carrying other people's secrets and lies for getting on 2 years now. Heather got ill in February 2023. Nearly 2 years I've been carrying other people's lives. I've had to go through the pressure of dealing with that situation. I've had to go through the pressure of marrying a dying woman. I've had to go through the pressure of loss and grief. I've had to go through the pressure of finding out the truth. And then I've had to go through the pressure of being let down by so many people because they cared more about money than they did a human being. You can try and stop me, you can, but it's not going to work, and it's not. Because at the end of the day, you people couldn't, you wouldn't be here now, and you wouldn't. You know, there's a quote that keeps cropping up for me now, and like I say, I forgive you, but it's down to source and karma now. Now, you might think that karma won't hit you. You might not even believe in karma, but believe you me, it is coming. And as the quote keeps saying, popping up at the moment for me, touch not my anointed. Thank you.